Hello everyone, my name is Christian and welcome to my hobby blog. It is Friday night, Wednesday night. I got off early for work today. Mentally I'm on a Friday. It is actually Wednesday, November 24th. Today we are here to do something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. Something that I have put a lot of thought into. It's always been in the back of my mind. And I've been tackling how to approach this. And I remembered that I did a tier list multiple times in my distant past, in the early days of the channel, doing Brandon Sanderson, Hayao Miyazaki, the Cosmere, I believe, but I guess that's Brandon Sanderson. But today we are going to rank the films of someone who I regard as one of my favorite filmmakers. Definitely one of my favorite non-American filmmakers. He is unparalleled, very skilled in his craft. Probably some of the best thematically challenging films ever. Some of these films are much better than some of the other ones he's done, but I think this video will kind of show how I rank these films. It's all of them. There are only 7. There is an 8th one, but that's more of an anthology film called Tokyo, I believe, where Bong Joon was one of 3 filmmakers who came together to submit one of 3 parts. Each director, I believe, had a third of the one time. I don't know who all 3 of them was or were, but I believe that Park Chan-wook, who did Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, and Thirst, which Thirst is my personal favorite by Park Chan-wook, and I'm not going to count that, and I haven't seen it, so I can't really rank it, but that is a movie that he was involved in, so I don't want to ignore its existence. So whoever made this tier list was very, very helpful in having it chronologically and when he made it. So this is going to be really well looked at. But let's begin. So the first movie that is listed here, the title is not shown, but the movie is Barking Dogs Don't Bite. This is his first directorial debut. It is quite impressive for a debut. It's one that I've reviewed already. When I did my 24-hour movie-thon, I should probably put a list of films that I discussed during that marathon, where I watched about 7 movies. That way, y'all can look up this movie and then my username and find it. But that's aside from the point. Barking Dogs Don't Bite is very interesting to look at in the perspective or in the context of his entire filmography, because this was one of the final movies. May have been the final movie by him that I saw. And it was not planned that way. It was not planned for his very first movie he made to be my final one viewing. I think it turned out well doing that, to watch all his great films and then to see where he started, rather than throwing the first one in the middle and not having a frame of reference in regards to how this film holds. But the basic premise of this movie is that there's an apartment complex and a woman loses her dog, and slowly but surely many dogs start appearing or disappearing, and at some point of the film we discover that there's a dog killer within this apartment complex, and a sweater wearing young woman, probably about 18, 19, if I remember right. I think she's in late high school. She starts investigating who this is, and she gets glimpses of the dog killer, and all this craziness ensues. But you can really see the seeds of Bong Joon-ho's mastery in regards to him being a director, but it is very not divisive but polarizing, because he's dealing with very heavy subjects but in a comedic way, and sometimes it's very comedic how he's portraying the situation, but then there are times where he's treating something that should be dealt with seriously but very goofy, or something very goofy very seriously. And there's this like really contrasting mood and tone throughout the movie. It was really hard for me to enjoy it as much as his other movies, but it's still, especially for a debut, for his first movie, it's very well done. But for my ranking, I think I'll put it at a B, right in the middle. Barking Dogs Don't Bite gets a B rating. I also just realized that if you abbreviate the title, Barking Dogs Don't Bite, is BDDB. I wonder if that was intentional, if there's some sort of poem-like structure that he was going for in terms of, the format or the structure. I don't know. But I just kind of realized, I was like, it's kind of symmetrical in terms of its naming. But the next movie that he did is one I just discussed last week, if you're watching this when this video comes out. Memories of Murder. There's a reason why the review I made for that movie was over 30 minutes long, or roughly 30 minutes long. It's because I love it. It's one of the best South Korean films ever, in my opinion. Very well structured, great characterization, great themes, great historical backdrops to the events that are happening. It's based on a real-life serial killer. I love those type of movies. Zodiac, especially, is probably the best one in terms of not Memories of Murder. Memories of Murder I enjoy a lot more, but Memories of Murder goes without saying. It is S tier, probably the best. I absolutely love this movie. I've seen it 3 times now, and each watch I notice a little bit more. And especially with the recent Criterion release of it, which I just reviewed. Oh my gosh. I picked up on so much, and there was so much I didn't even talk about in that review. Especially the Marxist themes that Bong Joon-ho puts into his films. But especially this one in regards to police brutality, and looking at the history of government and its relationship with the citizens and the populace, all that. There was a lot that I didn't discuss, and at the same time, I don't feel too guilty because it allows you to discover it on your own. There's a lot going on in this movie, and you just gotta go in and just really analyze it after watching it once. So, Memories of Murder, S tier for sure. Now this next one is actually one of my personal favorites by Bong Joon-ho, only for the fact that growing up, I was an avid watcher of the TV channel G4 TV, which was a gaming-centric TV channel before YouTube kind of took over as the gaming video platform. And they had the rights, or the TV rights at least, to many different movies. I remember they had Hostel, they had The Host, they had Trying to think what else, because honestly, this is the only movie that I remember from that time period. And this is what really enabled my love for creature features. The Host is phenomenal. It's about American scientists intentionally poisoning or dumping toxic materials into a South Korean river. And I haven't seen this movie in a very long time, a couple years. And unfortunately, there's no good Blu-ray, as far as I know, but it was recently on the Memories of Murder essays that were on that. They briefly mentioned that The Host was an analogy for the occupation of South Korea during the Korean War by American military, and how the effects of them dumping the nuclear waste or the toxic chemicals that they had in the lab, which is played by the one and only, what's his name? I just had it in my head, but he plays Walter White. He's in Malcolm in the Middle as the father. His face is right there in front of my face, or in my mind. I can't remember his name. I am so embarrassed. But he makes a cameo in the beginning. He's one of the scientists who dumps the chemicals down, and what results is a giant mutated fish monster that kidnaps a little girl. And our main protagonist, Song Kang-ho, or I believe that's his name, Song Kang-ho. He's a very regular actor in all of Bong Joon-ho's films. He's our main protagonist. He's a loser. He's dumpy. He doesn't really care about his daughter. And it's his daughter that gets captured by this fish. And so he kind of has to throw aside all priorities. He has to actually be productive. And the whole movie is just absolutely wonderful. It's a great creature feature. The CGI effects are a little dated, but when it comes to Bong Joon-ho, there are so many great aspects of his movies that if one aspect is lacking, it doesn't matter. So The Host, I'm going to put it into the high A tier. I don't think it's masterful like Memories of Murder. Memories of Murder is just so good. But that is The Host. Criterion, if you're listening, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, please release The Host on high definition Blu-ray, or even do a Bong Joon-ho box set. There's one in Region B going on right now, and Criterion, you need to step up. But the next film by Bong Joon-ho that he made is one that is very haunting, very disturbing. I think it goes back to the tone of Memories of Murder, where it is like a crime thriller, where a mother finds out that her son is being accused of a young woman's murder. And so she begins to investigate and finds out a lot of different dark secrets about her son as she tries to prove everybody wrong. And this movie is very well done. There were so many twists throughout this narrative that blew me away. I absolutely loved Mother. A couple years ago, before COVID, when I was in grad school, my first semester, I really dived deep into the South Korean thriller genre. And that's how I finally was able to finish watching the Bong Joon-ho filmography, because I was watching I Saw the Devil, Chaser, all of these Bong Joon-ho films, except Parasite, of course, because it wasn't out yet. And many others I can't think off the top of my head because they all kind of run together for me. But I remember watching Mother and just sitting there after it ended and just thinking about the movie. And I could not move because I was just so deep in thought about the twists and the truth of what actually happened to this young woman and her murder. And finding out the truth was just as hard-hitting as what I think the mother felt. So I love this movie. I don't know where to put it. It's definitely not above Memories of Murder. It's almost S tier, but I don't think it's S tier. Oh, I'm gonna put it above The Host. I don't know how tier lists are, but in my head, everything as far right. Well, let me rephrase that. Things that are furthest to the right are usually higher than the ones on the left. That's how I view it mentally. So, Mother is above The Host right now. So, those are my thoughts on that. Obviously, these are not reviews on the individual movies. These are just my rankings. I have so many thoughts. There's no way to tackle them right now. But this is my way of kind of letting you guys know that I have seen all of his movies and I wanted to say something about it because it is a blind spot on my channel and somewhat in my collection because I only own 2 of these movies, Parasite and Memories of Murder. Now the next one is, I believe, Bong Joon-ho's first Hollywood film, first American main casted film. And this is Snowpiercer, starring Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton, and other people. Those 2 are really the breakout stars of this movie. Tilda Swinton, everything turns to gold. If she ever stars in the movie, just go ahead and watch it. It's probably going to be amazing. She is great, and We Need to Talk About Kevin. She's great in Suspiria. She's great even in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that really awful adaptation. Yeah, Tilda Swinton is the queen of American film. But I think she's British, actually. But either way, she's great. I love her. But Snowpiercer, I think is just okay. I love the themes, I love the acting, the dialogue is great, the structure is great. It's everything great about Bong Joon-ho. It's just that you could tell that he was limited by American producers. Because for the most part in the movies that he makes, he has full control. And that's why Memories of Murder, Mother, The Host, even Barking Dogs Don't Bite, they're really, really good. But Snowpiercer was the first one where he actually had to wrestle with American sensibilities, with censors, and just all the BS that comes with Hollywood. And it's very committee-like. There are moments where you can see Bong Joon-ho wanted to go further, but he couldn't, because then we'd have a Mother type of situation, Memories of Murder, even Parasite, although thankfully it's finally gotten the acclaim that it deserves. But Snowpiercer didn't go far enough, in my opinion, in terms of really showing the disparity in class in regards to the train that is circling around the world in order to not freeze, because there's an ice age, I believe, that's going on, where global warming happened, or climate change is the more correct term, and they try to reverse it by sending a specific gas that doesn't trap heat anymore in terms of the atmosphere, so it becomes an ice age. And everyone boards onto this train, and the rich people have the greatest of feasts. Everyone in the back of the train eats protein bars that look like what's it called? It's a really disgusting looking food that they eat. It's like a protein bar, but in the consistency of Play-Doh, or it's just so disgusting. And I really like that aspect of the movie, is the class disparities, and it's very him exploring, Marxist ideals and talking and combating the class structure, and that's in all of these films that he tackles it, but especially in this one's probably the most in your face. I don't think it's a bad thing, because in my mind, it's good, because a lot of these movies, it's afterwards when I'm reading about them, studying it, and watching commentary tracks and video essays, that I'm like, oh, okay, he was tackling this issue. And I felt that a lot with Memories of Murder. But this one especially, there's no way that you miss what the themes are in this movie. But where to actually put it in my ranking? That's the question. Is it better than The Host? No, not at all. Not even close. Is it better than Barking Dogs Don't Bite? A little bit. I think Barking Dogs Don't Bite is like a valley where the movie is, let's go from this direction. It goes really high, then sometimes it dives in quality, then it goes back up. But sometimes it dips and it goes up and down. Snowpiercer is more like a straight line with a little blip. It's kind of like a heart rate monitor, where it's just going, and so it's really hard to analyze. Just because I don't want to take forever, I'm going to put it below Barking Dogs Don't Bite, but not in C. C, I'm going to treat as I didn't think much of it. Snowpiercer, there are a lot of memorable moments, great moments. It's just the overall movie itself, I'm indifferent. But C, I guess I'll explain in a second. The next movie is Oksha, which is a Netflix-made Bong Joon-ho film. It's a mix of South Korean and American. You got Jake Gyllenhaal in it, playing a TV personality. He's like a wildlife guy, and they specially breed these giant hippopotamus-like creatures that yield a lot of meat. And this one especially, you can get the themes of the movie, which is all about the meat processing industry and the very inhuman practices that go on with that, which, after watching this movie, it's a fine movie. I really like it, but I think the first hour, the first 80% is just, it's very run-of-the-mill saving your pet movie. I'm trying not to spoil it, but the final 20 minutes is just so great, but everything else is just so by the numbers, which is really bizarre, because from what I remember when this movie came out, because I saw it when it came out, before I even realized that Bong Joon-ho had made all these other movies that I've seen, like The Host and Snowpiercer. But watching Oksha is hard to watch, and it's a subject matter that I don't like to engage with too much, because it's very depressing. I care a lot about animals. I absolutely love animals, even ones that I don't like. I love, because I think nature is beautiful. I love my pets, of course. And watching this movie is really hard, so my knee-jerk reaction is to put it as a C. But again, when it comes to tackling the themes of the inhuman practices of the meat processing industry and the mistreatment of animals and just all those themes that Bong Joon-ho tackles in this movie, I want to give it an A. So I guess it's good that I'm not going to give it a C, because I don't want to explain C, because C, I think, in my mind, is that I think it's a bad movie. Bong Joon-ho has never made a bad movie. He's made flawed movies, such as Barking Dogs Don't Bite, which I've explained, but he hasn't made a bad movie. So, but would I put it above or below Snowpiercer? That is the question. Let's put it below, because I also love the themes of Snowpiercer, although both of these are equally in your face in regards to the themes, but I think I like Snowpiercer more because we have Tilda Swinton, who she can have all the money in the world. She can have whatever she wants from me. I don't care. I will do anything for her. She is amazing. I love Tilda Swinton. Everything she touches turns to gold, as I said. Jake Gyllenhaal is wonderful, but he's okay comparing him to Tilda Swinton. Okay, so the final film, not the final film, he's not done directing. I can't wait to see the future of Bong Joon-ho. But the most recent Bong Joon-ho film is, of course, Parasite, which won. It's the first foreign film that won an Academy Award, I believe, which usually goes to American films. And Parasite's the first one that broke that record of non-English speaking movies winning the Academy Award. I believe it's the Academy Award. I usually don't pay attention to the awards, like the Oscars and this, of the Academy Awards, the Golden Globes, all that. I usually don't care, but when it comes to Parasite, I loved this movie. I'm due for a rewatch soon. I watched it last year or the year before during COVID, and during the first initial wave, and I loved it. I love the return of Song Kang-ho, or Kang Song-ho. I think it's Song Kang-ho. I get those mixed up, but he's back. He plays a wonderful, sleazy character. And I love the themes, again, of the lower class versus the upper class, and how something that the upper class, like the seasonal rain that comes, it makes the lawn greener. And they remark at some point, like, wow, I really like that rain that happened, last night. And our favorite, actor is playing this character, and he just gives her a look. This, like, I think it's the mother of the wealthy family. He just gives her this look, and he's like in the background, so you'll miss it if you don't look out for it. But it's that same rainstorm that she's, looking at in a positive light, that completely destroyed his home and like his whole neighborhood and flooded everything. And of course everyone points that out when it comes to tackling themes, but I think that's a very poignant example of Bong Joon-ho's themes of the upper class versus the lower class, and how the upper class views the lower class as cockroaches and insects and disgusting pests, I guess is the word that Bong Joon-ho uses when he explains how he got the idea for this movie. And watching this lower class family being led by this patriarch figure, one by one they are hired into this family, and they don't know that they're actually a lower class family. They fake the university degrees, And they fake this, and they fake the credit history, and they use all sorts of technologies and all this stuff in order to slowly encroach on this wealthy family. And oh my gosh, this movie is just so good. I just really like it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't want to say too much because I may revisit the Criterion edition and talk about it on the channel. But the Criterion Collection edition of Parasite is just wonderful. There's a great interview with the same person who interviewed Bong Joon-ho on the Memories of Murder release. It's actually the same interview. They just took everything concerning Memories of Murder, put it to that release, everything with Parasite, put it to that release. And so I believe the person that interviewed him, his name is Darcy. And there's a great interview for this Parasite where he's like, okay, Bong Joon-ho, I'm going to give you a single word. I want you to talk about that word and what comes to your mind. And one of those words is pest. And Bong Joon-ho talks for like 30 minutes. I'm exaggerating, but he talks at length about the word pest and that relation to the film Parasite, which the name of the film, Parasite, is another great descriptor of this lower class family. They're a parasite feeding off of the wealthy family by getting the family members hired on into various different roles, such as the housemaid or the English teacher for the young boy, and all these different aspects. And this is not my Parasite review. I just kind of launched into my review mode, but I love this movie. I am going to rank it higher than Memories of Murder. There we go. Memories of Murder is equally as great as Parasite, but I just love Parasite more because it's a later Bong Joon-ho. He has mastered his craft by this point because, again, if you rewind and look at the list by year of his films, Memories of Murder is number 2, the second movie he made, and he did such a great job on that movie. I love that movie, but there's little tweaks that could be made to get it to the level of Parasite. Parasite is so well constructed. Probably the best South Korean film. Okay, everyone. Before I leave, I want to ask you guys how you would rank Bong Joon-ho's films. He is such a great director. I love all his films, not equally, but in varying levels. But let me know what your ranking is for these films, and let me know who else I should tackle for a ranking. I did mention in my channel update earlier this month that I do want to, when I move out and I have the internet, I want to do live streams of director breakdowns, of going film by film, maybe an hour to 2 hours per movie through an entire director's filmography. So let me know who you want to see. I don't know what else to say. Thank you all for watching.